Hello and welcome to a new podcast, Two Mums Talking After Road Death. I'm Mandy, Garner, and I'm here with Yvonne Bruce.
Hello.
Hello, Yvonne. And me and Yvonne came together in very awful circumstances, but I think our relationship has grown quite a lot since then. And we came together through an organisation called Road Peace, which is a brilliant organisation that helps people after they've suffered road death. And we both did a kind of trauma course together.
Yes.
And we've stayed in touch since then. And that was probably the best thing that I've done, actually, since the most helpful thing. I don't know about you, Yvonne.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely it's not what I wanted, but it's what I needed. And having someone that has gone through this trauma that we're going through is it's unique, but it's comforting, and you don't feel so alone.
Yeah, absolutely. You know that the other people on there just totally understood, but also they gave kind of quite practical help as well over understanding trauma. And I hadn't really thought about it in that way, and coping. Yeah, absolutely. So what we were going to do in this sort of first episode is talk about what happened to us and those initial sort of days, and why we're doing this podcast, really. And I think what was clear from doing the trauma course was, and all the experience we've had since, is it's really important to talk about it, and it's really important we really want to help other people who are going through it.
Reach out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Reach out to people that are struggling, because it's a really difficult journey to navigate on your own.
Yeah. And just all the different parts of it, all the different facets. So we'll be talking about, how other people can help to support us, how we felt our family and friends and workplace and all of that kind of thing helped us. But also we're both mums, which is really important as well. We have other children, and it's sort of not managing, that sounds like a horrible word, but, looking out for them and seeing their grief, which is really, really difficult.
That's really hard. It's really hard to explain how you're feeling, because it strikes you so hard. So I guess we start by saying what we went through.
Yeah, the suddenness of it, but also all the different aspects, like the criminal justice system, or dealing with all of those kind of aspects are really, really difficult.
And even booking the funeral, because you just can't quite believe that you're doing it.
No.
So you're in a bit of a daze, really. So for us to give our experiences will hopefully make it a little bit easier for people to organise and know what's coming, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to a lot of this is, I just feel like I'm constantly having to relive. But in a way, I think, all the impact statements, I've written so many impact statements in the last few years. But in a way, maybe that's something that you have to do to somehow not come to terms with it. I don't know what the word is, but just to get it in your head, because it's such a shock.
It's a disbelief, isn't it?
And you just, I don't know even if I believe it now, most of the time, I don't think I believe it. I don't think I could get up and keep going if I believed it every single second of the day.
Exactly. Yeah. So hard.
Anyway, so do you want to go first and talk, or do you want me to go first?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
So on the 15th of September 2021, I had actually been trying to call my son Jack. He was due to go to university. We were taking him to university on the Friday, and on the Wednesday I was just calling him because there was a few things that we wanted to make sure that he was doing, packing and getting things ready for going off to uni. I remember not being able to get in touch with him, and he didn't ring me back. And I remember speaking to people at work and saying, it's really unlike Jack. He normally rings back straight away. And They were saying, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be absolutely fine." And to say that I left work in a buzz, it was. I was on cloud nine. Jack was going off to uni. We were so excited. Um, but there was something in the back of my mind that kept thinking there's something not quite right. Tried
Mm.
to ring him on the way home. And then when I got home, I came in and he wasn't here. I rang my husband, Simon, to see if he had heard from him. And I don't know what it was, but I instinctively thought I need to ring the police and tell them that my son is missing. Because he'd gone out on his bike. He'd actually gone to cycle up the road, literally a mile up the road, to collect his laptop that had gone into a computer shop to be repaired for him to bring back to take up to university with him. And straight away they asked questions about how long he'd been gone. But they didn't hesitate, actually. They worked on it straight away. They said, well, we'll be in contact. They asked about his mental health and if he had run away. And I said, no, that's not something he would have done. And so then my husband came home from work and he said, well, because Jack's been out on his bike, let's take the car. And I know the way that he would have gone to the computer shop. There's a little uh, like side road that he could have gone down. Let's see, in case he's had an accident. So we drove there, and then we decided we were going to go to Medway Hospital because that's where they take a lot of the trauma if there was trauma in like a road collision. And it was while we were driving along the M20 that we got a phone call from our daughter, laughing and joking, saying there's 2 police officers at the door.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And so we spoke to them, and that's when they said, you need to come back. And I remember looking at my husband thinking, what can this mean? Even though we knew what it meant.
Yeah.
And so we made our way back, and then we came home. Nadia was in the front room with our dog, Treacle. And straight away, they were so articulate. They said it in such a clear manner that Jack had had a road. There'd been a road accident. Jack had been hit by a dust truck, and he didn't survive.
Mm.
And there wasn't even a misunderstanding, because I think the police officer who told us was so clear in what he said that I immediately went into the front room and grabbed hold of Nadia and brought her in and just told her that Jack's been killed. And I just remember her scream.
Yeah.
It was so awful.
Yeah.
And I remember her just saying, I want to see him. Where's Jack? I want to see him. Where's he gone? And that's when the police explained that that the next morning the police inspector would be in touch with us to give us full information, because he didn't have all the information. All the information he had was that Jack was cycling along, and he was cycling across a road, and it was a really quiet road, 11 o'clock in the morning, and a dust truck had turned left into the road, and I'd caught Jack instantly. So yeah, and I just remember phoning my brother and saying to him, "Don't ask any questions. Go and round to Mum's. Don't ask any questions. Just pick her up and get here as soon as you can." And I had rung my sister, who lives in Glasgow, and told her, and a couple of friends, and I just remember all their screams.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just horrendous. It's horrendous.
Yeah. And I remember my sister even saying, what do you mean? Why are you saying that? Because again, I just think it's something that you see on television, in series, and on
Yeah.
and all these different dramas, and you just don't expect it to happen to you. And so family and friends came round, and obviously they don't know what to say. And then when they left, Nadia's boyfriend had come over, and I remember the four of us were just sitting on the sofa, and we just watched films all
Yeah.
night
Yeah.
and
Not
didn't
saying
move.
anything.
No,
Yeah.
didn't say anything. I don't even
What is
think
there
we
to
even
say?
took it in. I think we were
Yeah.
just in such a complete daze. So, so yeah, and then I think the next morning, we eventually did get some sleep, and then family members came over, and
There's
what
always
about
quite a
you?
lot of,
Yeah.
people come around in those first days,
Mm.
usually. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess, 'cause, with us, it was just, again, it was a Wednesday, um, and we were supposed to see Anisha on the Friday. She was at university. It was her first year, and it was, February 2020, just before the lockdown. And we were due to go for a Harry Potter walk because her brother loved Harry Potter and she absolutely adored her brother. And she was very excited about it. So I texted her that day. And actually the night before she'd been advising him, she'd been asking him, she'd rung him, she'd FaceTimed him to ask him what, her laptop wasn't working, and she'd FaceTime to ask for his advice. He was 9, but he was Mr. Tech to advise him what she should get to replace it. Anyway, so so we'd had dinner. We went to bed, and then there was a knock at the door at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went into the bathroom, and Maya, my other daughter, came in as well because she was still awake. And we looked out the window and we saw policemen. And we were like, my first thought was, they've got the wrong house. What are they doing here?
Yeah.
So I wasn't, thinking anything in particular.
Mm.
And I went downstairs and Maya followed me and I opened the door and then they just came in and it was like you'd gone into a film,
Yeah.
onto a film set, because they said that whole spiel that they say this is the worst, news that we ever have to tell, anyone. We're just here to tell you that, your daughter is your daughter, Anisha Vidal. And then, they said she's been hit and killed instantly. I don't think they even said that instantly. They just said she's been in an accident and she's dead. And I can't even remember when my partner came downstairs, but we all just sat on the sofa very close together. And it was the Essex police that came and told us. And then they said the Metropolitan Police, because she'd been killed in London. She was at university in London, in Brixton she was killed. And they didn't really have very much information. And I just remember saying, did she suffer? Well, that was my main thing. Did she suffer? Like, was it? And they were like, oh, we think it was probably instant. And I don't know. I felt like I'd been completely suspended from my body.
Yeah.
And I think I felt like that for a long time. And almost it was like I kind of anticipated it. I felt really, because it's the thing that you worry about most as a parent.
Yeah.
And it almost was like, oh, it's happened.
Mm.
It's happened. I knew it was going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
I felt like I'd anticipated it. And then the Metropolitan Police did come. The Essex Police left, and then the Metropolitan Police came. And really, I think from what I remember, it was mostly about the independent police report because she was killed. She was crossing the road, and this guy came out of nowhere. He had apparently the police had tried to slow him down, and he did slow down a bit, and then a gap opened in the traffic, and he just took off at high speed, and he was driving on both sides of the road, down the hill. So she wouldn't have known.
No.
She was in the middle, crossing the road, and she wouldn't have known which way to go, because she wouldn't have known which way he was going to be, where he was going to be, because I think he was completely out of control of the car and speeding. And she was with her boyfriend and friend, and they were just, I said to them, I asked them, and I found it quite difficult to talk to them about it, because I know that they are suffering from trauma. But they said it just happened in seconds. It was just seconds. I said, if another minute, if she'd been across the road in another minute, and they said, no, it was seconds.
Yeah.
It was seconds. And I know she did jump back, but he swerved towards her rather than away from her. He swerved towards her and her friends. Anyway, and then he took off, and he dumped his car, and he didn't stop. No, he ran. So the Metropolitan Police, had to be an independent police investigation, because the police had flagged him, and whether they were chasing or pursuing or whatever. And that seemed to be all that they were mainly concerned with. So we had to sign some papers. I just remember having to sign information about all my other children. Got 3 other children. And then the Metropolitan Police said that they wait outside until the family liaison officer arrived. And then that was about 6 o'clock in the morning. And then they said the family liaison officer couldn't come until later on in the day. And I think he came like 4:30, 5 o'clock that afternoon. So then I was trying to get Maya, settle Maya, and try and get her to get some sleep. So I was just lying with her and just trying to get her to get some sleep. And then we had to start telling people, and that was awful. It's an awful thing. And it was like in the middle of the night as well. So my dad lived abroad. I couldn't actually tell my dad. So I rang my brother, who lived in Argentina at the time. And he was just like, "Hi, Matt, what are you doing ringing me, at this time?" And I think I just got the word. All I said was, "Anisha has been killed." And I couldn't get any further than that. It was just horrible. And then
I felt like I was almost talking about somebody else.
Yeah.
I knew it was Jack. I knew something had happened to Jack, but when you're telling people on the phone, because their reaction is disbelief, it's almost like you're talking about somebody else. So you're quite I felt like you quite matter.
I definitely did go into kind of like report. I'm a journalist, though. I did go into kind of reporter mode, and I think that lasted for quite a long time. I'm probably still in it. But it was just when I told my brother, and then Gustavo, my husband, he told my mum, and she came over straight away. But we waited until about 7-ish to tell her, and then I rang one of my other brothers and just said, "Can you tell everybody else?" And it's just like they pick up the phone and they're like, "Hi, Mandy," we're so happy. And then you're like
confused about why you're ringing, because obviously we
so early,
quite late.
Yeah. And then of course we had to wait for our other children to wake up and to tell them.
Because you hadn't woken them up previously.
No, because we were dealing with the police. We were literally dealing with the police the whole time. That was one of the things that came, because I don't remember them talking a lot about, "Do you want to see the body?" I don't remember that. And that became a really big thing for me, because I was like, how injured is she? Because she was hit, and he was going about 70 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, or whatever. And my stepbrother had died in a road accident when I was pregnant with Anisha, actually. And my other stepbrother said he insisted on seeing the body, and he said the police told him that he shouldn't see the body, advised him not to, because it was quite badly injured, and that sort of sticks with you. And he said, I remember that. being a thing. So like, I don't want to remember her
But you're drawn
like that,
because
but
you're the mum. You
I
want to
don't
see
know,
them.
but I want to
Yeah.
be with her. But I need to be with my other kids, and it was so far away. It was, like in South London or whatever. And I sort of wasn't sure what to do. And I wasn't sure and I wasn't sure. And in fact, they did the autopsy like straight away that morning. So even before we would have been able to get there, they would have done the autopsy.
Yeah, that was the same with Jack. We couldn't see him straight away. And Nadia kept saying, I want to see Jack. I want to see him. Where is he? And we had to wait until the autopsy, which I wonder whether that's a thing significant with road death.
Yeah.
That the autopsies are done really
So fast.
quickly.
Yeah.
Because then we had to, I think it was about 2 days we had to wait, but you had to wait longer, didn't you?
Yeah, we had to. So there was autopsy that we had to wait until the body was brought back to the funeral parlour to see her. Maybe we could have seen her in between. I don't know. I just don't remember very much about that time, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I do remember that we had to wait until like later on in the day, like late afternoon, for the family liaison officer to come. And in the meantime, people started coming. We had some friends that came round. My mum came. Gustavo's relatives from Spain came at some point. Don't really remember when. I'm trying to think of that first day. I just don't think. I don't even remember what happened. Except that, yeah, it was just telling the kids and going into almost like when friends came around, going almost feeling like you had to be the host.
Yeah.
Because they were so shocked as well.
Just repeating. That's what I found really hard, is having to repeat yourself. That's why when my brother came in the evening, I said to him, I want you to ring all the family. I don't want to speak to anybody. And then when they came round the next morning, it was really quick because my sister arrived within, because she lives in Glasgow, and she must have got a flight almost immediately, because within a day she was here.
Yeah.
With her husband, Serene. And
I think Gustavo's family came pretty much immediately.
And that's when I realised that there's family and friends that have a real role of taking over at the right time, because my sister took control of, because Jack was going to university on the Friday, we had bags of all his bedding and bits
crockery
and
and
pieces,
stuff.
and
Yeah,
his
all that
plates and
stuff.
stuff that we had literally gone to IKEA the Sunday before. And I just took one look at those bags and I needed them out of the house. So my brother and my sister's husband, Serene, they took control. And that's what I needed. I needed people to kind of do things without me having to think. There was even going into Jack's room, and I remember seeing his suitcase that was pretty much packed. It was open, because again, we were getting ready to go to his university. And that was one of the things that I panicked in the morning, because I thought, gosh, we're going to have to ring his uni. He was going to Swansea. We're going to have to ring his uni and tell them.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to turn up.
Yeah. We had to tell the university quite early on, I think. I think we told them the same day. I feel it was all of those things that you don't know who to tell. Mm-hmm. You don't know. I remember going out to Asda I took loads of photographs that I had of Anisha, and I had them all blown up to A3. I just wanted the photographs everywhere. I've still got them everywhere, every wall. I want to be able to see Anisha. And I remember doing that. And going into tell the bank, I was like, who do I have to tell? Who do I have to tell? The GP? And I didn't feel that there was any information about who I'm supposed to tell.
No.
I went to the bank. I went to the opticians because they were so nice to her when she was doing contact lenses. They were so lovely, and I just cried. She's lovely. She's really comes over and gives you a hug and everything. And yeah, most of the first bit was just telling people, and then going to the university and seeing all her friends from the university, and then having to take all her clothes, put them in suitcases, and bring them back.
So did you feel you kind of went into autopilot?
I went into, and also, like, as a mum, somebody said to me, one of the first things when I told one person, she said, your poor children, that's their lives. Words to the effect of that's their lives over.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, no way.
No.
No way. And if there's anything that any purpose that I've got for the rest of my life is make sure that they're all right, that they have a good life as much as possible.
Exactly.
So I think you go into that kind of, because I'm still Anisha's mum, and so it was sort of like looking after everybody and her friends. They're so young.
Yeah. And that's how
to go through this.
Jack's friends was telling them was the hardest, because I think they just told one or two, and they all told each other. And I just hearing their voices, and when we saw them, seeing their faces in just complete disbelief, because they'd only just spoken, like the children do. They used to talk over PlayStation, and they used to talk over WhatsApp, and they'd only just been talking, and to get this news, you just think, what do you mean? What do you mean Jack's gone? And that was really, really hard, because you go into nurturing mum mode, and you want to look after everybody, because you feel I felt so guilty, because their friend had gone.
Yeah.
And I felt as if I had done something wrong. I hadn't protected him. And
I
that's
think
really hard.
That is, you're like,
mum.
I just think you replay, although you weren't there, you replay in your mind, is there something that I could have done? Is there something I should have rung her? If I'd have rung her and she hadn't crossed the road, the if onlys, and then I didn't feel that I could. I never met her boyfriend Rory. I hadn't met him, but I'd heard a lot about him, and it was such a weird thing, because he's lovely, and I can see why she liked him so much. And it's just such a weird thing. He came to the Old Bailey, and obviously, and we went out to the pub and talked, and she just wasn't there. It just was such a weird thing. It should have been a lovely thing to meet him with her.
Exactly.
She just wasn't there. So
it is just a strange, scary time at the very beginning. And I know that I went into autopilot because, like we said, we had to phone up the university. We had to, even silly things, practical things, we had to phone up the student loan.
Oh, yeah.
And cancel.
Yeah, we had to do that.
The student loan.
Yeah.
Because that was due to go into Jack's account, I think, on the Friday.
Yeah.
And we did the same. We went to the bank, and I remember them saying, you have to have, we need ID, or we need evidence that your son has actually died. And I found that really, really hard, because even though I was giving, I had proof that I was his mum, and Simon was with me, he had proof that he was Jack's dad. the fact that they kept saying, you know, there was one woman in particular, and she kept saying, "Oh, you know, we need the death certificate." And even hearing those words, I think I just
Yes.
had a complete
I found that
meltdown in
really,
blank.
really difficult. I found
Yeah.
that really, we got an interim death
Mm.
certificate because we were waiting for the coroner, you know, the
Yeah.
inquest. Even just looking on the coroner's, because they opened an inquest and then they, in the end, they didn't do it. But they opened it immediately. Just seeing her name on that list, I mean, all those things, they just, there's a kind of panic that comes into you when you're just seeing those things
Yeah.
and all the certificates and all the things that you have to go through. But
I found that the hardest, actually, when we eventually did get Jack's interim, I hate saying it, death certificate. I remember wanting to put it with all our other paperwork, and I saw in this box
yeah,
is I've got sorry,
yeah,
I've got Jack's birth certificate.
yeah.
I've got all his medical
The little red
things from when he
book.
was a baby, the red book,
Yeah,
and now I've got his death certificate. And I kept thinking, this isn't normal.
it's
This shouldn't
wrong. It's
happen.
completely
It
wrong.
shouldn't happen. And I remember when we went, because we did get to see Jack at the coroner's. I think it was 2 days later, and I remember the first time we went to see him, we had to go and see him behind a screen because they were still doing some investigation into how he died, and I remember just seeing him thinking he just looks like he's asleep,
Yeah,
and that was really hard. And then when we eventually got to see him, I think the next day after they'd finished their investigation, we were able to see him without the glass screen being there. And the coroner's clerk, I think you call them, she was so lovely. And I remember he had a blue blanket over him, and she said that you could hold his hand, and it was a strange thing because I remember holding his hand, and it wasn't cold. It was
hmm,
like his hand was warm, and I remember touching his face and touching his, because he had a goatee beard, and his hair, and I just had this overwhelming um, want to feel his hair and touch his face, because I kind of like knew this was really happening, and it was trying to tell myself that this is real. But he did look so peaceful, and he just looked like he was sleeping. It was
yeah.
so weird. It was really bizarre.
I found that very weird seeing her because we didn't see her until a week or more after when they would transferred her to the funeral parlour, which is like there's not hardly any shops in our. I never thought I'd go in that funeral parlour. Well, not for a younger person. But she didn't look like her. She didn't look like her. She looked like a small doll, lying there, and they hadn't been able to put her in the clothes that I picked, which I hadn't even thought about. You know, I didn't want to give away any of her clothes because she
Yeah.
loved her clothes so much, wanted to keep all her clothes. So I gave them this sort of one that I'd never seen her in, which was a sort of zip up thing. And of course, they couldn't get her in because they, like, you know, the body was, or they couldn't get her body into it. So they put her in this sort of, I don't know, dress thing, like a ball gown type dress thing. It was just
Mm.
not her. But anyway, you couldn't see that because you could only see her face, and her hair didn't look like her hair. All the curliness of it had dropped out of it. It looked it looked fake, and and it just didn't look like her at all. And in a way, that was a relief. It's a weird thing. It's
Yeah.
like, this isn't her. This isn't her. Gustavo just couldn't even stay in there for more than 30 seconds. And I could have stayed in there longer, but I just came out with him. And I don't know. I just was in that unreal place of, in the disbelief place at that point. I just couldn't believe it. But I guess we'll talk more about that in the next year. Talk about the family and friends and the kind of support that was around. I think.
And who came and who didn't.
Who came,
who you were surprised, who you were surprised about.
The reaction that they can't deal with it or whatever it is. But also what actually does help. And you said about people being there but then not knowing what to say. But even just being there is, for me, being there is what matters.
I think
being
so,
there. Because, you don't have to say anything in a way. Like Maya and Layla just sat listening to music. And I think I couldn't listen to music because music, Anisha loved music.
Same.
It gets to those part of you that you can kind of like shut out everything else somehow, but music just gets to those places. But I think next time we'll talk about family and friends and supporting our own children.
Definitely.
Yeah. So thank you. That's been the end of our first episode. And we'll please do listen. There'll be 8 episodes in this series, and next time we'll be talking about family and friends.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.